I'm Francesca, and I'm the Chief of Outreach of the Deep Tech Talent Initiative. The Deep Tech Talent Initiative is an initiative funded by the European Commission and implemented by the European Institute for Innovation and Technology. And with this initiative, we have a very big objective. We want to skill, upskill, and reskill 1 million talents in the field of deep tech in Europe by the end of 2025. We have more than 170 partners on board, and among these partners, we have institutions, companies, training providers, universities, all willing to work together to reach this big objective. Today with me, I have the pleasure to have some representatives of our partners, as well as a member of our advisory board. So we have Karolina Konkolewska, Head of Talent Acquisition of Intel. Intel is one of our partners. Then we have Ebba Fahråeus, CEO of Smile Venture Hub, Sweden, also one of our partners. Then we have Neil Fergusson, Head of Entrepreneurial Development Ideas Hub at the University of Galway, our partner as well. And then we have Vicente Traver Salcedo, R&D Manager at Technologies for Health and Wellbeing within the Universitat Politècnica de València, who is one of the members of our advisory board. So again, thank you to all the speakers for being here. I think we can start with this very promising table that we have today. So Vicente, I will start with you. Given your job, both at the university and all the collaborations that I know you have in place, what do you think today are the main challenges that researchers have to, if they want to transition from academia to entrepreneurship?
Well, this is a very good question. First of all, thank you for having us on board. And okay, that's true. From academia, we are fully aware of the existence of such challenges, as we are already working on that. As we think that this is also part of the mission of the universities as ours, no? So transitioning from academia to entrepreneurship involves overcoming with different challenges related, first of all, for example, for cultural differences. I mean, the university versus the approach about papers, education, and so versus the business or the impact approach. I mean, something can be nice to have, but okay, we need to see the cast, no, that we have there on board. So that's something that the goals are not different, but also the point of the skills, no, because it's not just technical, but what we could call it maybe soft skills, no, also dealing with resource management, team building, and just manage properly all the resources, because at the end it's not just to have messages. Because okay, we need to score goals, but also we need some goalkeepers. So we need just to manage with this, and that's not so easy. So in at this point, at the end, we are at the university nowadays. We are not just expecting to train people or even researchers just to get knowledge, but going beyond. No? We expect them just to acquire some competencies and also interpersonal or management skills for the ones about the business approach can also be there, and they are currently also evaluated through some educational activities.
Yes, it's true. As I said, we have many different partners in our initiative, but the common topic that we hear from all the partners is this need to have a balance between technical expertise and soft skills. Until some years ago, you had very technical people, and then you had economic people, social people, and they were kind of divided. Now that's not possible anymore. We need to have talents that can kind of merge technical skills together with managerial skills, entrepreneurial skills, if they want to be successful or if they want their companies to be successful. So Neil, given that, how can we better upskill and reskill talents to meet the demands of this evolving market where technical skills or entrepreneurial skills divided is not enough anymore?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. We're looking at, like, I'm a great believer in learn by doing, and creating experiences for our students which really closely resemble what's going to happen when they go into industry, and bringing together multidisciplinary teams of students from all disciplines across the university and get them to work on challenges set by industry. So they get a really good appreciation of teamwork, and also being kind of identifying what the challenges are. So a lot of our students are very solution focused, they're very technical, and they're very keen to jump on a solution and run down, let's implement it really fast. Whereas what we try to do is say, right, let's leave your solution, park it at the door, and let's delve into what is the problem that you're trying to address. And to talk with industry, and we get industry to try and mentor the students to identify what the challenge is. And we use design thinking, so using the word empathy and to empathize with the person experiencing the challenge, to walk in the shoes of the person experiencing the challenge, which really it's a new set of soft skills that the students develop in order to gain that. And looking at what challenges for tomorrow, we have AI, we have all these different things, but AI will not really do empathy. It will not really appreciate what the problem is. It will certainly help analyze and identify where challenges areas are. It'll help look at patterns, and it'll certainly help ideate and come up with solutions. But what is the challenge? And I think that's a skill set that our students really need to develop, and we need to work with them more on identifying what is the challenge. Once we've that done, AI will be able to help us with the solution and implement it really well. But what is the challenge? So it's developing those partnerships with industry, bringing industry challenges in, and getting students to work on them. I think that's really key to how we can develop skills for future students.
So in other words, we could also say that alternative education programs, besides the standard front classes, are key today. We can't go ahead just with these two parallel situations, the academia and the industry. We need to find a way to have them talk to each other and build activities together. So speaking from the side of a company, Karolina, what are the biggest challenges you have as a company in attracting and retaining talents within the industry ecosystem?
Sure. So first of all, hello everyone. Happy to be here. Yes, I saw that I am one representative on the of the industry. My focus and Intel focus is in IT sector, so this is the sector that I can speak about. But for sure, when it comes to attracting and retaining talent, we need to mention about the competition that we have on the market, right? Because IT industry, as any other engineering industry, is highly competitive. So with companies competing for the most skilled and experienced professionals, the pace of technological innovation means that the skills required can also change very quickly. So not only attracting candidates, attracting employees, but also keeping them and their skills up to date, it requires ongoing training, development. It, of course, can be costly and time consuming. Talented IT professionals often seek out innovative projects and technologies that will change them and allow them to grow, that will also change the world. So companies that actually cannot provide an intellectually simulating environment might struggle to attract and retain these individuals. I think another big challenge is work-life balance. You know, in our industry, in IT industry, and probably in many others, professionals often face high-pressure environments with demanding projects. You know, maintaining a healthy work-life balance is really crucial for employee retention. especially that pandemic accelerated trends towards remote work. Many IT professionals now expect the option to work remotely or in a hybrid mode. And companies that cannot offer this kind of flexible working arrangements may really lose the talent to those that do. And we very often hear about big tech companies not being flexible enough for employees. So this is definitely a challenge. And I think the big one and the most challenging one, but also giving us the most opportunities, is diversity and inclusion. So, in high-tech industry, we historically struggled with diversity, which can affect ability to attract wide range of talent. Because, if we are dividing our audiences, then we are splitting and we are removing this chance of getting to females, for example, on the technical market, right? So supporting diversity is also very important for not only for having those diverse people in the company, but also for boosting innovation, productivity, and retaining a diverse workforce. So I think these are the most important right now, in my opinion, from the business perspective.
Thank you, Karolina, for your comments. Yes, I agree that especially within the IT world, things change so quick that it's also difficult from the company side to understand what skills they need in the medium to long term, because who knows what will happen in the medium to long term. So how do you think that companies can collaborate with academia to find a way to have this medium to long-term view?
Yeah, so definitely there are ways to collaborate, and I can tell about Intel how we collaborate with academic institutions, where, for example, to help them shape the curriculum, making sure that it is aligned with the latest industry needs and latest technologies that are being used in the business. This can also include guest lectures, internships, programs for students and for academics to share the knowledge. Universities can collaborate with the business on research projects, and it really can lead to new big developments like new drugs, medical devices, treatment protocols, right? Because medicine is algorithm, I would say, right? Sometimes it's really complicated. And what we've noticed and what is working really are data sharing initiatives. So, any technologies connected to big data analytics. These are significant opportunity for academia and industry to share data for research purposes, right? This can improve understanding of those medical algorithms, disease patterns, patient outcomes, and effectiveness of the training. Data sharing also enables collaborations in artificial intelligence and machine learning, which can lead to advancements in diagnostic tools, in predictive analytics for patient care, and automation of routine tasks to improve efficiency in healthcare and medicine. And combining expertise from different disciplines is important here, right? Because IT specialists cannot build this algorithm, this medical algorithm, I would say, without people from health industry. So this is really important. Plus, of course, those solutions are supported by computers that are only as strong as their processors are. The producer of Intel as a producer of processor is also participating here.
Thank you, Karolina. I think that we already have a kind of a common word that keeps on repeating, which is combining skills, combining knowledge, combining industry with academia. So we've covered the, let's say, academia perspective. We've seen the company's perspective. Ebba, I'm coming to you. Now we speak from the startups point of view. How can incubators support this transition from purely technical skills to merged technical and soft skills? So how can incubators help in this bridging the gap?
That's a good question, and very important question, because research, as important as it is, of course, should have the purpose to do good in society at some point, and incubators is a good tool for helping that process forward. So in the research community, the academics, is a highly competitive and quite fiercely competitive environment. So there's a culture shift that needs to happen, whereas you want to be first to publish, etc. Whereas when you become a startup, you need to ask everyone for help. You need to be quite open about where you are, open up about your problems. The chance that someone else will take your brilliant idea and run with it is very low. And it's all about execution. So that's a big mental shift for a researcher to move into that openness and other culture. So I think the incubators play a crucial role in the transition from academia to entrepreneurship by providing a structured environment where researchers can develop their business ideas, understanding that even though the discovery is brilliant, you need to find who is going to be the customer, who's going to be the user, who is the payers for your brilliant idea. And that's a quite different, complex world from discovering a very interesting molecule. So what the incubators offer, they offer mentorship, funding opportunities, networking events. It should not be underestimated, the networking in between the startups themselves, having peers in this world, but obviously also networking with investors, networking with industry partners is very, very essential for early startups. The earlier they start talking to the industry, even though they might be many, many years far away from making any kind of deals, it's all about understanding what are industry demands, what's trending right now, actually, because sometimes it's big molecules, it's small molecules, it's something else if you talk about biotech, or so they need to understand that there need to be a dialogue. They need to be in a dialogue to define their clinical trials or preclinical trials in a way that is actually interesting for the industry eventually to engage. And this is quite difficult, and it also changes because, honestly, the most entrepreneurs within life science will not take their product all the way to the market because the immense costs that are involved. So they really need to understand about who the taker is, what the industry is looking for very early. Incubators also offer training programs that are focused on business development, but also marketing, financial management, areas where researchers for natural reasons lack experience. So I think the incubators play a very, very important role in helping this transition. And some incubators like the one I work for, so we run an incubator program. We also run other programs. We also provide a full pharma discovery lab infrastructure, food science infrastructure. So actually having infrastructures available for researchers is quite important if you want them to move out, and if they are wet lab related companies. If you wanted to move out to universities into entrepreneurship, you also have to think about not only the soft skills, the business development, the coaching, you also have to think about specific infrastructure that they need and that will be impossible for them to go out and ask investors for during their first year, because this must be equipment that they are going to be using for a very short time. So I think that's something that's often forgotten, the importance of actually shared infrastructure for the researchers when they move into entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Ebba. Yeah, no, please go ahead.
I think you were going to ask me, I don't know. Yeah, over to you.
No, I was very, it's absolutely interesting and very true what you said, especially about health companies and health startups. They will probably not be the ones selling the final product. So it's very important to also develop entrepreneurial skills not just, again, technical skills. So what future skills do you foresee as critical when it comes to young entrepreneurs? What do they need to develop in terms of skills, I mean?
I will take out the word young, because in life science, many of them are postdocs at the time when they start entering into their entrepreneurship. So they might not be young, but they are obviously young at being in entrepreneurship. They're young at everything except specifically research. I think the future skills, and Francesca touched upon this, but the interdisciplinary knowledge, particularly the intersection with technology, IT, data, and life science. So skills in understanding data analytics, AI, and machine learning, and how this can be applied, not necessary for them to develop their own skill, but understanding when to call for it and who to collaborate with, because these technologies are getting more and more integrated into all aspects of healthcare solutions and also biotech. So I think that is one thing, but I also think never to forget the soft skills, leadership, communication, team building, and adaptability, because the healthcare landscape is moving, and the industry is very dynamic. So there's this whole soft skill set, and of course understanding, and I think we touched about that as well, on diversity. Diversity in healthcare, so they make sure to think about the whole population, not subsets of the population, and understand that when it comes to inclusion in trials and even in animal models, maybe you should think about already then. So that there's a lot of understanding the bigger picture of the solutions that you're going to bring to market eventually.
Thank you, Ebba. I would like to go a little bit more in depth of the existing collaborations, which can also be useful for the participants to this panel, because I see that there are some talents and perhaps they are interested to understand what's on the plate. So Vicente, I'm back to you. I know that you have several projects in place about, let's say, putting together academia and industry. So what are some best practices that you know working on creating partnerships between academia and industry in health?
Okay, this is also, thank you, Francesca, very interesting discussion, and that's a very nice question, and we could keep talking during hours, and especially just exchanging opinions, because I mean that's not the Bible, but just to exchange lessons learned, no? Because also we are also failing sometimes. It's not easy to summarize, but let's raise some points that I guess that should be always there. First of all, just to guarantee this trust between academia and industry, a clear communication and transparency. For me, it's clear. What does it mean? I mean, we need to share our goals, our expectations. So being clear from the beginning, we can avoid a lot of misunderstandings. If such expectations are aligned, for sure, they can be different, and they have to be different. No? My expectations as academia have to be different from the ones from Intel, for example. But if we know each part what the other they want, is much easier. So having this communication and developing empathy would be my first advice. No? Just to establish this win-win situation, and not generate any false expectation that we are going to reinvent or make rocket science, or just to make the others to make large investments. The second would be also a mutual recognition and respect. Okay, maybe we can be researchers, or maybe I'm part of the industry, but we need to also to respect the other's part of work. All the parts are important. We need to give space and credit to the other part and be generous. And we can talk about the intellectual property of a product or a paper or a newsletter, or even just celebrate together the success. That's something that has to be done together. No? Also, when we are talking about long-term partnerships, I think that education is key. No? But when we are training people in this field, or this education has to be bidirectional. All of us are learning. When I'm teaching or I'm giving lectures to industry, I'm also learning from them, or to healthcare professionals, and vice versa. No, so we need to hear them and to understand their pains, their problems. We were talking. That's a common word that you read, no? Multidisciplinarity or combination. So that's something that has to be there, because if not, I can tell you about examples of very nice technology devices that they fail because they were not considering very stupid things, where maybe the person just taking care of how clean was the roof, and the issue was failing, no? Because we were just putting the focus on the very high-tech technologies, and we were missing just maybe the most stupid, but we fail there. So we have to be open-minded. We would be also interested to offer common training programs, workshops or internships, just to build these skills and knowledge. There are different just now approaches for industrial doctorates. That's also a part, or facilitate exchange programs. And in this, we are keeping the loop, and I guess that also the idea of the continuous improvement. I mean, it's not just to have developed the trust or the mechanism, but we are engaging new people on board from both sides, from academic industry. So that's key also, just to establish mechanisms to give feedback, and to be open, and just to adapt. We are going to revise our agreements every 3 months, or just to see if our strategies are very aligned, no? And last, but maybe should be the first, try to establish this commitment, but from a long-term approach. I mean, going step by step, that's true, but proving that we are not just following the money, the project, the papers. I mean, those can be maybe part of our intermediate outcomes, but those are not my goals. My goal is just to generate impact, to generate value, and together with with the industry from the academia side is always much easier.
Thank you, Vicente. So I think that the takeover from what you said might be summarized as never stop learning and think out of the box. So even if you have a background in biotech, don't think that's all that you can learn, but think of everything else that you should learn if you want to be an entrepreneur, or if you want to grow your career in a certain field.
Yeah, you are right, and I will go even beyond. Think out of the different boxes, because there are more than one box. Yeah. Sometimes we are assuming that there's one box, but there are more, especially in the health sector. Yeah, you are right.
Exactly. Karolina, I'm back to you. From your perspective, so again, from the company's side, what are the key benefits of collaboration between academia and industry, specifically in advancing healthcare innovation? And if you have some specific examples from Intel that you could mention.
Of course. So, we are a tech company. We're a big business. You would say that the business is all about money. But it's not only about money, We're not building technology just for the purpose of technology, of building it, but we're building technology for the benefit of humanity. And I think the healthcare industry is a huge power when it comes to bringing our people, and in Europe, for example, up to speed and making them healthy and making them strong. So yes, we do have a lot of collaboration between academia and Intel, and I think the most successful ones are the ones that are based on big data and also, cloud technology. So I can give you an example of, Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research that we collaborated with. So this foundation was using wearable devices, and we were doing big data analytics to study this disease. This collaboration involved a study where participants used smartwatches, equipped with Intel's technology to collect data on their symptoms continuously. And this data then was analyzed, and the team gained insights into the disease progression and how to improve the management of Parkinson's. So this is one example. Another example might be collaborative cancer cloud that has been built by Knight Cancer Institute, also with collaboration with Broad Institute of MIT and Harvard. So, it is medicine analytics platform that allows institutions to share patient genomic imaging, clinical data, and analyze these large sets of medical data to just tailor treatments for individual patients. It would not be possible if all those data was not in the cloud, was not analyzed by high-performing computing, and it is really bringing us closer to solutions to the biggest challenges that humanity has right now. So these are the examples, and there is many more.
Thank you, Karolina. Very interesting examples, and it looks like it's not just talents that need to think out of the box, but also companies are thinking out of the box, because when Intel was founded, I think they had no idea they would have been working on Parkinson's years and years later.
Definitely.
So also big companies need to kind of reinvent themselves to stay competitive, to stay ahead of the others. So another takeover from this panel besides keep on learning, combining, it's also thinking out. Everyone should think out of the box. Neil, so going back again from the university side. So what advice would you give to researchers or entrepreneurs who are looking to initiate some collaboration with academia, between academia and industry in the health field?
The advice I would give them would be to do their homework, first of all, on the industry or on the partner, to look at
I'm sorry, Neil, we can't hear you very well. You are breaking a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, not very.
Okay, let me
No, now it's fine. Yes, now it's fine.
Cool. So I would recommend it to the researchers to identify, first of all, which partner are they looking at, which tech company. We have a lot of med tech companies here in Galway, but we also have a lot of graduates and graduates who've left here and gone working in there, and to identify potential relationships. Because one university to an industry, it's always relationships, and to work out who do they need to talk to, and then to get to know the industry and what challenges are they looking at, and to work out, who can we talk to, what are their challenges, and what do you have any solutions there, or do you have methodologies, or do you have skill set that company may be interested in, and using your relationships to build on that. I would very much look at building a relationship, linking in with them, talking to them, finding out what's going on there, and even say, listen, could we do a guest talk? Start with small steps, and get to know people that way, and then introduce your research, and go back and forth and build up. It's a relationship that builds up over time, and you don't do a multi-million-dollar research project overnight. It's something that happens. It happens with trust, and to build up trust and confidence over a period of time. So we work with many industry partners, and we are very much providing educational programs where they can recruit talent, and they come in, they mentor, they give their time because they can see the potential for getting future talent coming into them. So that's a relationship that we are building up with them Over time, now they're sending their staff in to get trained up with us. So that's another step. And then you kind of go to another step by saying, well, could we do some research together and cement a relationship? But it start off with early wins, small little early wins that you can build up confidence, and then you bring it on, and then you start talking about potentially funding projects. But there will be a lot of just exchanging information and time. We value industry's time so much more than their dollars, because they bring in expertise that we just don't have access to, and bringing in a perspective from industry that our students really love. A lot of times, it's the first time our students will have got to speak to industry, and for them to get that on their CV and to be able to go to a job interview and say, we solved a problem for this company and we worked using design thinking to do that, that's really powerful for the student, and gives them confidence and some of that soft skills that allows them to get their first job. So my view is very much it's talent development and giving the student a skill set to be able to get out there and get a really good job, either in a startup or in an existing company, and to add value there. And as that relationship builds up over time, then you'll see stronger bonds, and you may see dollars or euros flowing back and forth, but that's not critical to us now at this stage.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you. What you said is absolutely very valuable. They don't need to see each other like a customer and a supplier. They need to see each other as partners. And in that sense, they need to work and collaborate in a picture, in a bigger view. I'm really sorry, we have to rush a little bit because we have only a couple of minutes left. So I have one last question for you, Ebba. So what we see is that besides differences in terms of academia being more technical and companies needing to be more soft skill oriented, there are also some basic, I would say, cultural differences between academia and industry. So what strategies can be employed to overcome these cultural differences?
There. Thank you. I think actually it has been very well said by several of the speakers already. So, I mean, it is about communications, it's about the small steps. So I think Neil said a lot of what I was going to say, and also Vicente, so I'm not going to repeat that, but I would like to say that it's very difficult to, and I know the researchers, if they are young people, they don't rarely pick up the phone and call anyone. So it's going to be very hard for them to get in touch with the industry. So I would suggest that use intermediates like incubators or other structures, because that is one of the things we do. We build the network with contacts. So when a researcher talks to us, an entrepreneur talks to us, we can introduce them, because when we talk to the industry, we can always say we have all these interesting research, we have all these interesting projects, and we get meetings with them. So I'm not going to talk about the culture because I think that's been well said, but I would recommend to use the intermediaries whose business it is to build the networks. And we are non-for-profits. There's similar structures all over Europe as ours, because we work with them. So we can be that bridge, because it's quite hard to be an individual and call Intel, I think, or someone else, whoever it is. But we talk to them very regularly, and so we can be support organizations for that, I think. And we can sit in, because there is a worry from researching side that their research is going to be stolen. And the industry on the other side, they are not going to steal they are just curious what's going on, what research is happening, what should we think about the future. So there's also intermediaries that can be part of bridging that cultural gap in the conversation and making it less tense and less worrisome, because researchers are often very, very worried to talk to the industry, and they should talk a lot more to the industry, because there are so many mutual wins without anyone stealing anything from anyone, but collaboration.
Thank you, Ebba. This was very important. No one wants to steal anything. Normally they want to collaborate, because what they can build is a win-win situation. So they need to collaborate. So thank you all. We are already running out of time. So just one key takeover from each of you, really just a couple of words from each of you before we leave. So Vicente, a couple of words.
Yeah, okay. My advice to all professionals would be just be always problem or system driven, not being technology pushed. That's something that's a common mistake. And focus on the problem, but from not just solving the problem, but from a value-based healthcare perspective, generating value, and always in a sustainable way, not just from the ecological perspective, but also from the economical or the organizational perspective. That would be my takeover. Thank you.
Thank you. Karolina?
Well, for me, communicate, collaborate, find your niche, explore any possibilities, and have fun with it, because then you will stay as long as it is possible with the topic. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Neil?
Be curious. Just be willing to learn, explore, and have fun. That's always very important. But be curious. Be willing to learn.
Thank you. Ebba?
Yes, bridging the gap between academia and industry is essential for humanity. So we have to work this way to solve real world problems in the health sector. There's no other way forward. And I think if we can leverage the benefits and the strength in both these worlds, and create a dynamic ecosystem with all of us, I think we will make real strides ahead to solve some big problems out there. So collaborate and talk to each other. That's the takeaway.
Great. Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here and for these great insights that you gave us. I mean, everyone from their own perspective. So it was super interesting. The panel has been recorded, so it will be available for everyone to watch it again. And thank you again for your availability, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.